Friendship is born at the moment when one man says to another, "What? You too? I thought that no one but myself." You can never get a cup of tea large enough or a book long enough to suit me. Someday you'll be old enough to start reading fairy tales again. A children's story that can only be enjoyed by children is not a good children's story in the slightest. The Christian does not think God will love us because we are good, but that God will make us good because He loves us. Friendship is unnecessary, like philosophy, like art. It has no survival value, rather it is one of those things which give value to survival. Eating and reading are two pleasures that combine admirably. I can't imagine a man really enjoying a book and reading it only once. No book is really worth reading at the age of 10, which is not equally, and often far more, worth reading at the age of 50 and beyond. We are not necessarily doubting that God will do the best for us, we are wondering how painful the best will turn out to be. A man can no more diminish God's glory by refusing to worship Him than a lunatic can put out the sun by scribbling the word darkness on the walls of his cell. There are far, far better things ahead than any we leave behind. Love is not affectionate feeling, but a steady wish for the loved person's ultimate good as far as it can be obtained. Crying is all right in its way while it lasts. But you have to stop sooner or later, and then you still have to decide what to do. God can give us peace and happiness apart from Himself because there is no such thing. Atheism turns out to be too simple. If the whole universe has no meaning, we should never have found out that it has no meaning. Pain insists upon being attended to. God whispers to us in our pleasures, speaks in our consciences, but shouts in our pains. It is His megaphone to rouse a deaf world. It is a good rule after reading a new book, never to allow yourself another new one till you have read an old one in between. I have learned now that while those who speak about one's miseries usually hurt, those who keep silence hurt more. You can make anything by writing. The homemaker has the ultimate career. All other careers exist for one purpose only, and that is to support the ultimate career. He died not for men, but for each man. If each man had been the only man made, he would have done no less. What draws people to be friends is that they see the same truth. They share it. No one ever told me that grief felt so like fear. Love is something more stern and splendid than mere kindness. The task of the modern educator is not to cut down jungles, but to irrigate deserts. God allows us to experience the low points of life in order to teach us lessons that we could learn in no other way. I know now, Lord, why you utter no answer. You are yourself the answer. Before your face questions die away. What other answer would suffice? Education without values, as useful as it is, seems rather to make man a more clever devil. Now the trouble about trying to make yourself stupider than you really are is that you very often succeed. What you see and what you hear depends a great deal on where you are standing. It also depends on what sort of person you are. True humility is not thinking less of yourself, it is thinking of yourself less. We meet no ordinary people in our lives. A proud man is always looking down on things and people, and, of course, as long as you are looking down, you cannot see something that is above you. She's the sort of woman who lives for others, you can tell the others by their hunted expression. There was a boy called Eustace Clarence Scrubb, and he almost deserved it. "That's the worst of girls," said Edmund to Peter and the dwarf. "They never can carry a map in their heads." "That's because our heads have something inside them," said Lucy. Integrity is doing the right thing, even when no one is watching. Miracles are a retelling in small letters of the very same story which is written across the whole world in letters too large for some of us to see. Things never happen the same way twice. The great thing to remember is that though our feelings come and go, God's love for us does not. Don't use words too big for the subject. Don't say infinitely when you mean very, otherwise you'll have no word left when you want to talk about something really infinite. I think that if God forgives us, we must forgive ourselves. Otherwise, it is almost like setting up ourselves as a higher tribunal than Him. It is when we notice the dirt that God is most present in us. It is the very sign of His presence. The future is something which everyone reaches at the rate of 60 minutes an hour, whatever he does, whoever he is. "You would not have called to me unless I had been calling to you," said the lion. When we lose one blessing, another is often most unexpectedly given in its place. Nothing you have not given away will ever really be yours. As long as you are proud, you cannot know God. A proud man is always looking down on things and people, and, of course, as long as you are looking down, you cannot see something that is above you. The pain I feel now is the happiness I had before. That's the deal. Hardship often prepares an ordinary person for an extraordinary destiny. Write about what really interests you, whether it is real things or imaginary things, and nothing else. Indeed, the safest road to hell is the gradual one, the gentle slope, soft underfoot, without sudden turnings, without milestones, without signposts. Your affectionate uncle, Screwtape. If I find in myself desires which nothing in this world can satisfy, the only logical explanation is that I was made for another world. It is a very funny thing that the sleepier you are, the longer you take about getting to bed. Relying on God has to begin all over again every day as if nothing had yet been done. There is but one good, that is God. Everything else is good when it looks to Him and bad when it turns from Him. It is funny how mortals always picture us as putting things into their minds. In reality, our best work is done by keeping things out. We live, in fact, in a world starved for solitude, silence, and private, and therefore starved for meditation and true friendship. Adventures are never fun while you're having them. If you love deeply, you're going to get hurt badly. But it's still worth it. Do not let us mistake necessary evils for good. But courage, child, we are all between the paws of the true Aslan. Courage is not simply one of the virtues but the form of every virtue at the testing point, which means at the point of highest reality. You can't know, you can only believe, or not. Do not dare not to dare. I was with book, as a woman is with child.